because we're not able to gather for Mass today, this fifth Sunday of Lent, I invite you to take this moment to reflect on today's Gospel with me. In an effort to slow down the spread of the coronavirus, we've been ordered to stay in our homes. And I share this reflection from the chapel in my own basement. In times like this, it's nice to have a chapel in your basement. I know that we are all working on ways to stay connected and to feel one another's support and presence, even when we're more alone than we would like. You may be gathered at home with your family to listen to this, maybe as a part of your Sunday worship. I hope that this will help you in that worship. I will begin by reading the Gospel, which is a very long Gospel, again like last week. But you may want to pause this video first for a moment and proclaim the readings before you continue with the Gospel and with me. The Lord be with you. And with your spirit. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. Glory to you, O Lord. Now, a man was ill, Lazarus from Bethany, the village of Mary and his sister Martha. Mary was the one who had anointed the Lord with perfumed oil and dried his feet with her hair. It was her brother Lazarus who was ill. So the sisters sent word to him saying, "Master, the one you love is ill." When Jesus heard this, he said, "This illness is not to end in death, but is for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it." Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus, so when he heard that he was ill, he remained for 2 days in the place where he was. Then after this, he said to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." The disciples said to him, "Rabbi, the Jews were just trying to stone you, and you want to go back there." Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours in the day? If one walks during the day, one does not stumble because he sees the light of this world. But if one walks at night, he stumbles because the light is not in him." He said this, and then he told them, "Our friend Lazarus is asleep, but I am going to awaken him." So the disciples said to him, "Master, if he's asleep, he will be saved." But Jesus was talking about his death, while they thought he meant ordinary sleep. So then Jesus said to them clearly, "Lazarus has died. And I'm glad for you that I was not there, that you may believe. Let us go to him." So Thomas, called Didymus, said to his fellow disciples, "Let us also go up to die with him." Then Jesus, when he arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, only about 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them about their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary sat at home. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise." Martha said to him, "I know he will rise in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus told her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, even if he dies, will live, and whoever lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord. I have come to believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, the one who is coming into this world." When she had said this, she went and called her sister Mary secretly, saying, "The teacher is here and is asking for you." As soon as she heard this, she rose quickly and went to him, for Jesus had not yet come into the village and was still where Martha had met him. So when the Jews who were with her in the house, comforting her, saw Mary get up quickly and go out, they followed her, presuming that she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came to where Jesus was and saw her, she fell at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." And Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews with her weeping. He became perturbed and deeply troubled and said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Sir, come and see." And Jesus wept. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him?" But some of them said, "Could not the one who opened the eyes of the blind man have done something so that this man would not have died?" So Jesus, perturbed again, came to the tomb. It was a cave and a stone lay across it. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the dead man's sister, said to him, "Lord, by now there will be a stench. He's been in the tomb 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. Jesus raised his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you for hearing me. I know that you always hear me, but because of the crowd here I have said this, that they may believe that you sent me." When he had said this, he cried out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, tied hand and foot with burial bands. His face was wrapped in a cloth. So Jesus said to them, "Untie him and let him go." Now many of the Jews who had come to Mary and seen what he had done began to believe in him. The Gospel of the Lord. So I've reflected a lot this week on the desires of my heart, that what it is that I truly long for and need. And these are days when we have a chance to think about that, much like Martha and Mary did as their brother grew ill. And Mary, who we can overlook, right? Because she's the quiet one. She sits at Jesus's feet. She doesn't make as much noise or profess her faith as loudly as Martha. She sits and pouts, whereas Martha goes out and finds the Lord. But reflecting on Mary today, who had such an intense personal relationship with Jesus, what she wanted, right? She needed 2 things. Her heart needed 2 things. She needed her brother Lazarus to live. And she needed her friend Jesus to care. And so they sent word to Jesus, and she must have started out very hopeful, right? They sent word and Jesus is going to come and he's going to heal Lazarus and it's all going to be okay. But hour by hour and day by day, that became less likely. And she settled into the reality that her brother was dying. And then they buried him. And what she needed, what her heart desired, seemed to have fallen apart. It's amazing how we can be so sure of what we desire and still be wrong. Because she was wrong, right? And Jesus came, and notice she didn't go out to meet Jesus. She was like, she didn't want to deal with that. But when he called her, she went. And she complained, right? She went and she said, "Lord, why?" Right? Why? Not just why is my brother dead, but why didn't you come? Why didn't you care? And he managed to say in his tears and in his signs that he did care. And Mary ended up with her heart's desire. She was right. She was aware of what she needed. She just thought that the way to get it was different. And I think it's a good reflection for us these days, that we would know the desires of our heart, but not take too many shortcuts trying to get them, right? To stay open, to let God's saving work, to let God who is living water, to let God, Jesus, who is the light of the world, bring light, to let Jesus, who is resurrection and life, to restore and renew our lives when what we desire doesn't seem to be happening. In these days, right, the things that I desire our community to be strong. I desire our parish to be able to gather, to be able to support one another. At funerals, I so want to go and embrace those who are crying. I so want to be able to give communion to those who secretly gather in the wing when we're doing our masses online, right? I'm not suggesting that. These desires that we have, what do we really want? We want God's kingdom. We want God's love. We want his kingdom and love to be manifest in our lives. We want to be effective ministers of the Father's kingdom of love. And you know what? That isn't hopeless. I don't know when the restrictions get lifted. I don't know what getting back to business as usual will even mean. But I know that even today, even outside of Lazarus's tomb, our heart's desires are still within reach. And that God, who grants our heart's desires, will show us the way if we'll listen. Will listen to us if we speak, will come to us if we call, and will respond when we need him. I'm trying to think of ways, as we all are, to stay connected. First, I'd like to thank those of you who are still staying connected in the financial support of our parishes. Those of you who are using online giving or mailing in your offertories. This isn't about our financial situation any more than it's about yours. And I know many of our families are struggling these days. I'm grateful for our continued efforts to support and work together to build God's kingdom, even financially. And if you're not sure how to do that, feel free to call the office to click the link on our emails and on our webpage. We'll help you to get those things worked out and set up on a week that I can't pass the collection basket for you to throw in your donations. I've also been thinking if it might be helpful for us to get together and chat more freely. We can use Zoom, maybe on Wednesdays or on Fridays or both. I was thinking walking together Wednesdays or Fridays with Father Martin, or some title that you come up which would be better. Let me know what you think. Send me an email or if you want to leave a comment publicly, and we'll kind of work out what the best way is to stay community, to stay connected. And finally, the way we minister has changed, but what we minister, God's love, has not. And if you need me, I'm here. And if you need me, please call me. Call me or text me. I'll put my phone number up on the screen if you need it. It's also the emergency number if you call our parish offices. Thank you, and God bless you, and stay safe. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Many blessings.